Greetings interwebs, this is Jacket K, and I decided to spice it up this week for Game and Chill. Why did I call it a week when this is kind of more of a monthly thing? Oh well. I was really leaning towards just doing a post-commentary session and just getting miscellaneous game footage from my own personal play sessions to put in the background. But thinking more about it, I really wanted to get that cipher that eluded me on the Emerald, or the Pokemon Fool's Gold stream. So I figured it's like a middle ground to just like have live commentary going while I'm just reading through notes of everything else going on. Just because this is definitely going to be more of a update focus Game and Chill. So how about I just get right on it? Starting ourselves off, I would say that I don't really have much planned for this month, but something that is probably big for a lot of longtime fans of the channel did drop recently, so I should probably address that, assuming I time when I upload this video, when I finish up the video correctly with when I have everything else scheduled to upload. And that's Pokemon XG. Yeah, Pokemon XG is back, at least for post-game stuff. And my goal is to be consistent with it, though mostly in the fact that there will be a video with Pokemon XG. The current plan is to do 1 to 3 videos a week, depending on how short the videos are. I would love to have like an average 20-minute to 40 minutes of footage or of video to show you all each week. And with just the way the post-game is, it felt better just do individual videos for particular parts of the post-game than it was to actually schedule 1 or 2 videos every single week. Because if you remember from the playthrough, there was quite a few legendaries to get our hands on. And I'm not going to say every single legendary has its own video, but most of them do, or at least at the very least. Oh, for those of you that actually watched the stream, for some reason, just in case there's somehow an overlap between people who watch Game and Chill and people who watch the Pokemon Fool's Gold stream, you're new. I was looking for Cypher, but I guess this is one of the many reasons why it was worth doing a live recording. I guess we could try to catch this for the bit. How much will Pound do? Oh! Well, I mean, I guess that for a crit that was a bit. But still kind of caught me off guard exactly how much that ended up being. I think a big difference is that I usually stream in the evenings and this recording is being done in the morning. So if there are day and night differences between encounters, and turns out Cypher was actually a night encounter, this bit might end up being awkward, but at least I'll have my B-roll. And at least something of interest happened in the video for me to react to. Well, that being said, I did re-catch the Yama that I lost due to stupidly having to reset the game because I accidentally deleted a move off one of my other Pokemon. The downside is that this one is male when the other one's female, which I guess gender's not that big of an issue. But what's more big of an issue is that for some reason this Yama was suspiciously stubborn. It's almost a shame that I didn't record it because like the previous Yama, we got in like 1 or 2 Pokeballs. This one took like at least half my inventory just to catch. And that was after getting it down to red health and paralyzing it. So I don't know what's so incredible about this Yama compared to the one from our previous timeline, but hopefully this Soren actually has some potential to share with us all. Back to what I was saying before though. Yeah, with the fact that the post-game in Pokemon XD, let alone XG, is kind of segmented to begin with, I figure it's better to segment most of the post-game into individual videos that actually fit the categories. Like, some of the legendaries I caught were way too short for a single video. So in those particular cases, I put like 2 into 1 video. But then there's other things like the first shadow Pokemon in the post game I did try to catch. Man, that was a whole ordeal in itself. That definitely took long enough to be a whole video in and of itself. And that's like the other thing I'm kind of concerned about, because the goal is to just have, no matter if it's one video or 3 videos, the goal is to have a video every week once I start the post-game of Pokemon XG. But with how brutal some of these post-game fights have been, I'm a little unsure if I'm going to be able to keep up the pace with it. That's kind of like the big reason why I was holding off on actually uploading videos for the post-game for so long. For one, I guess it did take me a while to actually get into the post-game. I can't believe that XG started over 2 years ago already. But even once I did start recording, a lot of those videos did take a long time to actually go through and do. How about I just give you another example of some of the hardships I had to deal with trying to record the post-game to give you a better idea of why I'm a little concerned of keeping up with it consistently despite the backlog. So, Mountain Battle. One of the things I have done for the post-game Pokemon XG, but you won't see for a while, is the final area of Mountain Battle. And that's because I frickin' failed it. Even after waiting until defeating Master Greedbill and catching all the other legendaries in the game, I still screwed it up. The first half, like the first 5 battles, went perfectly fine, but the second half was a whole entire mess that I pretty much got owned every single time. I don't want to spoil it, so I'll just say there's some pretty formidable fights in those final 3 to 4 fights of Mount Battle. To the point where I did not actually complete Mount Battle, so I have like about a recording session and a half, maybe even 2 recording sessions worth of footage of just Mount Battle, and I can't really use it because I didn't actually complete Mount Battle. I guess worst case scenario, I could find a way to repurpose it as like outtakes if I really need to buy myself time to record more Pokemon XG or something. But for now, that footage is I'm considering that footage dead to me. At best, like saved for some post-game content. And I already record kind of infrequently, because the goal with this current schedule I have going on is to alternate my Saturday evenings between recording and streaming. And judging from the fact that I'm doing this instead of recording Pokemon XG, that's one more week that that's another 2 weeks I gotta wait before the next Pokemon XG session. We'll see how I feel later on. It's just that I got other things going on later on today, so I'm gonna assume this is the only recording that I'm gonna get around to for now. But yeah, I just bring that up because I'm gonna do my best to keep consistent with the uploads, but I don't want to set you all up for disappointment on the off chance that I can't. We'll admit that if this was exclusively the only thing I really did, this whole YouTube thing, then I probably would upload a bit more frequently. But the whole point of the changes I made this year was to give myself more time with game development. But tangents aside, like, I figured that for one, after taking all that time to focus on the April Fool's video / game, that was a good excuse in of itself to quote-unquote take a break. But I also got some IRL appointments to worry about. So, beyond Pokemon XG, I'm not really promising anything this month. And just so we're clear, I haven't forgotten about the Donjin videos that I brought up a few gaming chills back. They're kind of low priority, and I just haven't had time to finish essentially replaying the entire game again in order to record footage for all of the sections of the game that I changed the dialogue in. So I'll keep you all updated on the progress, or worst case scenario, the lack of progress that's made on that. Because as it stands, I do still hope to finish at least that video someday. It's just that it's kind of low priority, so if there's literally anything else going on, then that Donjin stuff gets put on the back burner. Because like I mentioned in the past, I do want to keep prioritizing game development stuff over ROM hacking. So there isn't really as much of a desire... Desire is not the right word. There's not as much of a preference to work on videos relating to ROM hacks I made when I'm kind of trying to push them more under the radar and put more of a spotlight on my more original projects. I think that's a good way to describe how I'm feeling. Like, the only reason I keep promising... I don't even want to say promise, but the only reason I haven't ditched the idea of making one more dungeon video is specifically because I know ROM hacking is not accessible to everyone, so I would like there to be some way out there for people to actually see the quote-unquote story changes I made without having to actually set all that up and playing it for yourself. Because initially, like, the 2 videos, I kind of went from like doing a whole bunch of videos to pushing dungeon forward to just 2 videos once I kind of came to the conclusion that I was ready to move on from ROM hacking to like, the one video is just like promoting class stuff, and I'm sure like if I'm always looking for excuses to bring Golden Sun to the channel, so I could probably just, that one video would just be showing off classes anyways, and I could just mess around with classes on a stream in battle mode or something if I really wanted to show that off. If only to have an excuse to stream Golden Sun again. For something that's fitting for a one-off, but not an entire streaming session. Oh yeah, streaming. I kind of went over this already. Like, I'm alternating between streaming and recording I'm streaming only every other week. Which I know, like, once a week is already frequently enough for a streamer, but I hope I kind of made it clear that there's a lot more to me than just streaming, so... Streaming's just a side thing. Point being, though, the key is to, like, alternate between recording sessions and streams, although the recording session's kind of more on the loose end. If I want to, like, go have a life or something instead of record, that's always an option. But the reason I think I have this blocked off in its own section was I kind of want to tease, like, plan on doing this month for streaming. And I only say tease because I'm kind of feeling a little wishy-washy on this myself, but I have been itching to re-record some of the old games I made before college. Oh, we're actually getting Dig. I can't believe this kind of just turned into a grinding session, but... I only stream this game like once a year. Which initially I was gonna break that trend by actually doing a second stream of it because I felt so bad of how little progress we made on the previous stream. But this game is just kind of like turning into a middle ground of that instead. Between like doing a lot of the stuff I had to reset off screen and just like trying to hunt for that cipher now, though I get the feeling that's a night exclusive spawn, so this kind of just turned into a grinding session instead. Well, I'm already halfway through, so it's too late to like change the clock or figure out a way to, or just wait to record this in the evening now. The point being, like, with the every other week stream schedule, I wouldn't be surprised if I only got around to 2 or 3 streams this month. But that's just a consequence of having a full-time job and dividing that already limited free time between all these different hobbies. The point being, like, I do want to revisit some of the really old fan games that or the really old games in general that I made. Majority of them are fan games. Because I did find that stream VOD I did, but I tried to re-upload it to YouTube and it kind of got like copyright flags, not like the serious copyright strikes, but just like content ID warnings or stuff like that, and like, I'm not monetized, so it shouldn't be an issue, but I always prefer to be safe than sorry and just not bother with that at all. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're not finding that cipher today. So I mean, that'll be fun. There'll be some distinct stuff. if you missed the last one, the fan games themselves are pretty small, outside of like 2. So we'll definitely get through all. We'll probably get through them all in 2 streams worth. Dedicating the first stream mostly to completing the more miscellaneous games, and then dedicating any remaining time of that stream into the Donkey Kong Country fan game. Because I've been meaning to get a full playthrough of that recorded for a while, if only for prosperity purposes. But like, I don't even remember what happened, but I started streaming the game and just stopped. So I'm hoping if not in the next stream, then the following stream, I can alleviate that. Because the fan game, it is a whole Donkey Kong Country platformer, or at least my best attempt at it in 2007 in Game Maker 1, but it's only like 1 world. So it was a big bulky world, especially for baby Jackie K from that early on, but still something that I can't imagine would take more than 2 to 3 hours to do, which 1.5 streams should be plenty to actually take care of. I was a little iffy about... Oh, so you are part ground. As I was saying though, I was a little iffy to just flat out say I'm going to do this, because I was also leaning towards eventually visiting other Donkey Kong Country games, like real ones. But the more I think about it, the more like I think I should prioritize that, because that keeps getting pushed off and procrastinated for so long as is. So I'd love to just do it and move on. Wow, I know some of this is going to get cut off, but I can't believe we're already at 20 minutes. I was sure this was going to be a shorter game and chill. I haven't even talked about any fun stuff. This is all just updates and tangents. Last but not least, I wanted to talk a bit about my plans with Game and Chill once Legends ZA comes out. And for right now, the plan is that nothing's going to change. Long story short, I'll probably continue to use Legends Arceus for gameplay, even after ZA comes out. We only got like 2 trailers, so time could change as we learn more about it, but from what we've seen so far, it doesn't really feel like it fits the vibes of what I want to go for with Game and Chill. It's hard to put into words, but essentially it just doesn't feel like a casual enough game. There's just something I enjoy. It also helps that I'm not really too sold on ZA anymore. Like ironically, back when we knew nothing about it, I was kind of excited for it. So about Legends ZA, I should emphasize that, for one, we've only had 2 trailers. The game's not even out yet as I'm recording. So it's not really fair to make definitive decisions. This is just based on how I'm feeling at this current state in time. And 2, even then, I'm not even trying to say that I feel it's a bad Pokemon game. But I don't know if I'm liking it enough to buy it. Again, things can change as we learn more about it. So, if I had to try to describe how I'm feeling about Legends ZA at the moment, it would be that it feels like it's taking way too many lessons from the main series games, and we're losing too many elements that I enjoyed from the original Pokemon Legends. Again, we barely know anything about the game. Trying to go into details of why that is the hard part. But I guess what really made Pokemon Legends Arceus appeal to me was a very specific atmospheric vibe that I'm just not getting from the more city-oriented modern-day focus of Legends ZA. And wow, can I even elaborate beyond that? That might have actually been it. All these attempts, all this time work, it might just been as simple as, like, I enjoyed the country, rural aesthetic of Pokemon Legends way more than the urban aesthetic and single location of Legends ZA. Because I look at it, and it doesn't look bad, at least in terms of graphics and the way the Pokemon look, and the dynamic battling seems kind of cool. Definitely a neat addition for a spin-off. But when it comes to what makes Legends Arceus a game that I can play for like 300 to 400 hours and still not be bored of, I'm not feeling that same vibe with Legends ZA so far. And I think just the lack of a feeling of relaxation and zen from exploring the world is gonna be a factor in that. I need a minute to recollect my thoughts anyway, so let me go back and heal. It might make this grinding a little bit easier. And ironically, like, maybe the focus on battling is taking away from the element of just catching a massive amount of Pokemon. Oh, that's it! That's the other thing. The wild areas suck. I'm just gonna be blunt about it. I think the wild areas suck. We've seen very little of it, so I definitely can be proven wrong, but it does look like the wild areas are incredibly tiny, little mini areas where you just collect wild Pokemon. If each individual wild area is going to be as huge as a single area in Legends Arceus, well, for one, that'd be insane, but two, I'd happily backpedal from my statement, if that's the case, but from one stance, it just looks like little parks and roads repurposed for wild Pokemon and stuff like that, and I mean, the only reason that's not fine is because the whole appeal of Pokemon Legends is roaming around an area and catching wild Pokemon. So, if you have this big grand city, but you're only really catching wild Pokemon in small areas, then I feel like you lose a lot of appeal of that. Of course, it's not like wild Pokemon are going to exclusively be in those wild areas. We were showing plenty of footage of wild Pokemon hanging out on rooftops and that. But it seems like the way that the game is being marketed to me, that they really want to emphasize that your catching experience is gonna, the majority of your catching experience is gonna be contained in these wild areas, and it doesn't really look like there's much to these wild areas to explore. That's what makes Legends Arceus so fun for me, like, and that's why it works so well as a game for Game and Chill, just because, like, I can just roam around these massive spaces for a half hour or more at a time, and still have things to do while I just talk and ramble. And I think that's it, like, because the other things that they show in the trailer aren't bad. I feel like a broken record, but it's lost between so many different takes, I don't know how much I talked about the aesthetic of the city. Like, it is a bold choice to base an entire game in a single city. Because sure, Lumiose City was big in X and Y, but not big enough to hold the entirety of X and Y, let alone a modern game made like 15 years later, while shot in the dark, that I'll probably have to correct myself in editing. But I don't know if open world game would be the right term, but like for a big sandbox game, I don't know about taking place in Lumiose City. Obviously, if GTA proved us anything, that people will buy a game about roaming around the whole city, but I don't play GTA, because in case it wasn't obvious, that style of game is not my jam, but I guess that is an example of a game that takes place in an entire city that people love so much that rumors can go around that they're gonna charge $100 for the next one, and people will, and yet people are, what's the word? Begrudgingly. People are already begrudgingly agreeing to the price, even when it hasn't been confirmed yet. And that's like wild. I mean, we're in the same area where the next Mario Kart game costs frickin' $80, so like, it's not as insane anymore, at least compared to how it used to sound. But still, like, is this a good time to bring up the fact that I never picked up Mario Kart 8 once? Well, That's the problem. I did pick up Mario 8. Literally once. When it came out on the Wii U. And I never touched... I never touched any edition or rendition of it on the Nintendo Switch. So I've gone an entire console generation without Mario Kart. I'm wondering if I should do it again. I do kind of ponder if we knee-jerked a little too harsh to that $80 price tag. Because if they really are trying to push this as like an open world Mario Kart game, which it seems like they are, I'm not completely sold on the concept of it being $80, but I could... If you're looking purely in terms of content, and not necessarily quality, I can see the argument between the massive roster, and more so all the time and energy that probably went into the resources of making as many courses as they did. But not only that, but making them interconnected and making pretty much an open world area that connects them all together. I sound like I'm coping, but I don't know. I'm not even convinced about buying it yet. But I am trying to put myself through the heads of the creators. Maybe I've gone too down the development hole. I'm becoming one of the developers in and of itself. But I do still find it kind of wild. And it does suck from a consumer perspective. From the consumer side of things, I don't know how anyone's gonna afford all this stuff. Like, for me personally, the price of the Switch 2, I could justify. Because it's a one-time purchase, and then I get to play video games on it for like the next, let's say, 4 to 8 years. We'll take the low of the Wii U and the high of the Switch. And instead of averaging it, we'll just include everything. Not to mention, like, the hope that it will make some of the Wii game, or make some of the Switch games I already have run better. So even if I'm not on board with getting anything right away, I still wouldn't mind putting that much down for the Switch, because one, in theory over that time frame I pick up at least a couple games that strike my interest, and two, in the meantime, I can continue to play my Switch 1 game. Maybe Scarlet and Violet will actually run well enough for me to enjoy, but I don't know. I'm a big advocate of there being problems with Scarlet and Violet well beyond the performance issues. I think it was an attempt that I think it was a recording attempt that I scrapped, but the music that plays frickin' everywhere when it's not really even music that I vibe well with is one of those factors. Other things that frame rate and performance improvements can fix include just how shallow and empty the towns are, and another reason why I'm kind of worried about Legends of ZA taking place entirely in a town. The Game Freak doesn't exactly have the greatest track record in making town areas that are actually enjoyable to explore and be in as of late. Good evening, is this Liz? Are you awake? Listen. Have you ever taken part in a bug catching contest in National Park? I have not gotten there yet. It's been 3 years since I've been playing this game and I still have yet to make it to the National Park. How many berries do I have? Can I just... Good, I'm gonna just use a potion. I shouldn't waste resources for the Poke Centers right there, but... whatever. I just realized how off-tangent I am and how much I'm extending the video because of it. I was really hoping that we run into Cypher by now, I'll be frank. But I think I'll just finish my Switch tangent, and if we don't find a Cypher by then I guess we're just out of luck, and Cypher was just a fever dream that we all in Continuum had at the same exact time. Until then, I'll switch to, because when else am I going to talk about it? Yeah, like, I could go back and forth about whether or not Mario Kart World is worth the $80. Don't let the rumors consume you. I've checked my sources and I have yet to find anything that confirms that it was $90 for physical. I think that was just some confusion between conversion rates and other shenanigans because Nintendo's being so silent about practically anything related to their pricing that people are just... That's just pretty much the Wild West out here when it comes to Nintendo news, where pretty much everyone says just whatever they feel like it because... how else are you gonna fact check it? Nintendo's not around to fact check it. All this for the punchline that I can't even get a Switch 2 right now, even if I wanted to. Why? Well... let's just say, check the news. Wait, did Mankey use Leer and it said that it lowered my special defense and not my defense? I kinda took for granted for the fact that there's a physical special split in this game already. But if they like changed the way Leer worked, that'd be wild. Okay, yeah, I guess if I've gone for 20 minutes more and have not found a single cipher, then well, I really don't need to drag you all into it at the very least. If I'm so desperate, I'll get it off screen. I was really hoping to get it on screen, but I got no more excuses and no more topics that could really extend the video any more than, way more than it already needs to be just to find this stupid cipher. So, there goes the lid to my pop. I've been Jackie K. Thank you all for tuning in for this edition of Game and Chill. And I guess I'll see you all next month. Probably back for Pokemon Legends. The original. I hope you can get used to me calling it Legends and not Legends Arceus, despite the fact we're gonna have 2 Legends games. Because I can't spell Arceus for the life of me, so it's just easier for me to call it Legends 1 than it is to call it Legends Arceus. Alright. I've been Jackie K, and I hope you take care.